I think it worked, honey. Okay. Yeah, it looks like it is working, I think. Let me make sure. Where's the YouTube? Okay, there it is. Hi, everybody. Sorry for the technical problems, but I thought I'd go live. I've been getting so many requests for the Octomom and her babies. So I decided that while I'm making another one, I would just record live. And in a couple weeks, I will publish it for everyone to see. But for now, for the next 2 to 4 weeks at least, anyway, it will be only available to people who attend the live stream. So, Stacy James here with Just Spooling Around. Sorry, I didn't introduce myself. Welcome, all you handy lovies. I'm so happy that you are tuning in to my channel. And today, like I said, we are going to start the Octomom, which is the Mama Octopus. And we're going to start by doing her head and her neck. I'm not sure how long it's going to take because I will probably, make mistakes, have to pull out some of the work or frog it, however you want to refer to it, as I go, because, I do that especially when I'm talking because I'm a terrible multitasker. So I kind of forget what I'm doing. Anyway, I don't know how much yarn it's going to use either. When I was making it, I just designed it as I went and recorded it in terms of I wrote the pattern down anyway as I went. And so now I'm just going to go by the pattern that I have recorded and we'll see how much yarn it takes. This yarn is from a China supplier that I can never remember their names because they're Chinese and I don't speak Chinese. I sure wish I could, but I can't. But it's High Bay something trading company. I always call it HPTC for short. Maybe it's Paige, Peige, maybe. I mean, I see it so often, but I have no idea if I'm pronouncing it correctly. So, but anyway, I love the variegated yarn from them. The only thing is that sometimes when I get it in a hank, so I always have to cut the ties, and get it ready. But sometimes, and I don't know if this is because of the dyeing process or maybe a manufacturing process problem, but sometimes the fibers kind of get stuck to another strand and I kind of have to separate them. So I'm using a whisk just to make sure that it stays nice and fluffy, which it is. This is so soft and fluffy. I just love it. Karen with Cynthia, oh gosh, Cashmere something is also, it says I'm live. You don't see it? I don't see anybody in there either. How would I know?
Go back to YouTube.
The stream's current bite rate is lower than the recommended. What does that mean? Welcome to live chat. So if I am live, I'm sorry. I don't know what I'm doing. It says it's live, right? So what do I do? Open this.
Is that you?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I just don't see it yet. Okay.
It says good connection. I don't know. It says unlisted. So how do we... I don't want it unlisted.
Oh, maybe that's the problem.
Yeah, that's probably the problem.
Where do you see that at?
Right here, privacy unlisted. So,
Edit.
okay.
Or post this. Cancel this.
Oh, maybe I need to come. Oh, here we go. Public. There we go.
Save it.
Okay. Okay. I think maybe now, 6 minutes in, there's a big delay here.
No, it just started from there. So
From the beginning or from now?
from now.
Okay. Okay, sorry. Looks like I keep getting these warnings. What is this? Do I need to do anything with this, honey? Sorry, I'm having some technical difficulties. First time I'm trying something a little different. I have gone live once or twice before, but I did it a different way. As you can see, I have a webcam facing me, so you should be able to see me. Except, look at that. Why is that there? It's over my face. Do I need to move this?
No.
Okay.
Do it over here. Stop.
Sorry. I'm just trying to get set up, so I apologize for the delay here. Oh, you're putting it up there. Okay, that's good.
There.
Okay. Now let me see it on the YouTube. Please. Okay. Okay, so that was you looking at it, right? Okay, so I am live streaming. And it started as I was, right? I think. Do I need to say my whole spiel again? Probably. Hi everyone, I'm Stacy James with Just Spooling Around. Thanks so much for joining me and welcome back if you are a returning viewer. So I'm doing something a little different. I saw somebody who is an avid knitter, okay, with needles, right? And she does these podcasts and she really just kind of sits and talks about random things. Sometimes it's knitting related, sometimes it's not, but she always has some projects that she shows. So I thought, you know what, I can do that. so I decided that I'm gonna do some live streaming to show some of my newer designs that I am creating for my festival event that's coming up in November. Now it's a 4-day event and it's the largest one in Nebraska. So I'm really nervous. I've never done an event this big before. I have no idea how much I need to make. So fingers crossed, I make enough. And I sell a lot, you know, hopefully. We'll see. We'll see how it goes in November. But anyway, I'm creating a lot of new designs for this upcoming festival that I am going to be in November of this year. So it really limits the time that I have to be able to do all of the video tutorial production stuff. And when I saw this lady, I thought, okay, maybe I just need to chill out a little bit and not try to make a big production maybe out of my tutorial. So, you know, you guys will have to let me know what you think. I want to do what you guys like. So if you've seen my videos, you can kind of decide whether that's something that you want to see more of, or if you prefer the production of the videos where everything is voiced over and all that stuff. It's just all unfiltered and raw here. So I am going to be getting started right now. Okay, so I'm going to do the Octomom, and I probably am going to have to do several parts. So part 1, I'm going to cover the head and the neck. If we can get all the way through. If not, that's okay. But I don't want to keep these, you know, too long. Anyway, hopefully not more than an hour. I will try. I don't even know what time it is. So it's 4 o'clock right now. So I'll try to keep it about an hour long. Also, with the live feeds, they will be, YouTube always makes them private once they've ended. And so I thought, well, for people who are joining and watching the live stream, they can have early access, because I'll just open it up within like a few weeks. So 2 to 4 weeks maybe, I'll open it up publicly. So if you want to wait, that's great. If you're able to watch, that's fantastic. I hope to see you here. Okay, now I am going to use this yarn that I got from a China supplier, and I abbreviate it by calling it HPTC. It's High Bay Page Trading Company, I think, but I don't even know if I'm spelling or pronouncing it the right way. Sorry, I'm getting a little tongue-tied. I really like this. It's super, super soft, but one issue that I have with this yarn is that sometimes the fibers on one strand get kind of entangled and stuck to the fibers on another strand. And so it depends on how entangled they are. Sometimes I have to cut them, but mostly I can just kind of pull it apart and it comes apart pretty easily. But I learned this really cool technique from my Facebook group. Stephanie, she's learned it from other people, and she shared it in my Facebook group. So I'm really excited about this. So anyway, I do this just to make sure that it's nice and fluffy all the way through, even if I get caught up with those sticky fibers. Okay. Anyway, so to begin, this is going to be a very large mama octopus, and it will be hollow. So normally when I do stuffed projects, I don't mess around with sewing. I typically will just do a good knot and then just weave it in a little bit, you know, and keep the end inside. But since this is going to be hollow, because we're going to be putting babies inside the head, I do like to clean it up and make sure that there is like seamless joins in on the inside. So I do not burn. So I will be, as I go, I will be sewing using some thread. Okay. And And I will also be sealing the ends with my fray block. I don't know if you can see that. Can you see that? I don't, sorry. Where's, there? Fray block. Oh, up here, sorry. Fray block, or over here, fray block. Sorry, this is the first time I have like a dual camera setup going on. So I'm getting a little used to it. Gotta get adjusted. All right, so let's get started. We are going to just kind of come up about 4 inches from the tail end, and we're going to start with the magic circle. So the magic circle, I do like to start a little bit closer than the 4 inches, because when you work the magic circle, this is the tail end that will close around your stitches in the magic circle. And so this gets longer. And so we don't need this to be really long. So I'm just actually gonna do it right at the end. And this is a little bumpy, but I did whisk it. And I whisked it good. Whisked it good. I did that just for you, Stephanie. Anyway, hello, Miss, sorry, Shelly. I needed a minute. Snug-bug, right, Shelly? No. Stephanie? No, she's nap time knits. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I think it's Shelly, right? You'll have to let me know if I'm right. Oh, yay. Okay, good. All right, so we're going to start with the magic circle. And again, let's just kind of put it in the palm of our hand, like so. Now, to start the magic circle, we're simply just going to cross it under the palm of our hand and then over that tail on the strand to form kind of like an X, okay, on the palm of your hand. But then we're going to turn that over, and you can see here that we've got, this is the working yarn here, and this is leads to our tail end, and we want to come under that yarn that goes to the tail end, and we want to pull our working yarn under that tail end and form this nice little loop, okay? And you can see I just kind of grab it and I keep it up here, keep my pinky, and just kind of grab it comfortably. This is going to be really awkward. If you haven't done the magic circle before, it'll be really fumbly, okay? I'm not gonna lie. It gets really kind of, it's hard to get used to, I guess. So you do have to practice, and that's okay, because we have to practice a lot of things to get good at them. So, but the magic circle is so nice because it just keeps that center hole from developing in the middle of our stitches, because we're able to draw that tail end tight around those stitches, okay? Because we're actually working our stitches around our tail end, okay? So we have our first loop. Now we need to secure this loop before we can do anything. So what we're going to do is we're going to pick up our working yarn from the back, and we're going to draw up a loop through that first loop. Now I like to tighten that first loop a little bit, okay? We want to make sure that it'll still slide. You can kind of let go once you do this, by the way, but you just pull on the right leg to tighten that loop up a little bit, and then we're going to untwist. We don't do this normally, but with this thick yarn, it works so much better when you have to try to get the loops through, or the working yarn or the tail end to close around those. It gives you a little bit more of a pathway. And we do have to kind of create our pathway a little bit. So because you see here is where both of these, this one's not currently completely around, but it will be. So make sure you keep that together. You keep the tail end together with what is coming around as your working yarn. Okay? I hope you can see that well enough. All right, so now that we have our first loop, we're going to single crochet 8 stitches in our ring, okay? And we first want to make sure we have some movement. So we just want to kind of slide the tail. It's getting shorter over here. It's hard to see. And then we want to slide it back this way. So we've got a nice little path there. We know it's not too tight. This loop is not too tight, okay? So now what I want to do is I have my working yarn here. I have my first loop for my single crochet, and I've got the tail end and the ring for the working yarn, okay? See that? Tail end, ring for the working yarn. Now, we want our working yarn to come from the back and go through the ring, passing through both the tail and the ring, okay? That's what makes this work. So I've just taken the working yarn in my left hand and putting it over my index finger to draw it up, okay? And around, because we're yarning, basically yarning over and pulling that second loop of our single crochet into the magic circle. And now we're going to close our first single crochet. Now, when you're creating this second loop, you don't want it to be too tight, but you also don't want it to be very loose. You want it to be snug so that it will be really nice and just snug up against the magic circle, okay? So I'm just gonna put both of my fingers in here and draw up another loop to close my first single crochet, which is right here. Right here. Okay, so now we're going to create our second single crochet. So again, we have our working yarn here. Here's our tail, and then we have our ring. And we want to put the working yarn behind the ring and the tail and through the middle of the ring, wrapping it around both the ring and the tail end. And we're going to draw up that second loop of our second single crochet. And see, this top loop is a bit bigger, okay, than the second loop, and that's okay. We want that snug. So we're going to now close that, and that's the second single crochet in the magic circle. Now we're going to continue doing this. We're going to take the working yarn, bring it from the back through the middle and up to the front to come around the ring and the tail, and then we're going to close that third single crochet. We have 5 left to do. Now before I do more, I want to again test the pathway. And you can see that it's kind of stuck. So what you want to do is just firmly, but not too tight, okay? You're going to put a little pressure on it and just do it firmly and consistent pull so the yarn doesn't break, okay? Now, if you have trouble, like I am, try it from the other side. Try it from the tail end side. And you can see, there we go, it's coming, okay? Now let's go back here and get it to come back this way. And now we've got a nice pathway for these 3 stitches. Now, when you get used to this, you won't have to do this as much because you'll figure out your groove and how big you need to make your loops and all that fun stuff, okay? But until you're very used to this, I would recommend just, you know, kind of working your ring and creating that pathway and making sure you've got that smooth glide with that every couple stitches. Okay, all right, so let's do the 4th stitch. So again, we have our magic ring. We're going to take our working yarn and we're going to wrap it through the magic ring, and it's got both the magic ring and the tail end that our yarn is going around. There's our 2nd loop of our single crochet, and there is our closure of our single crochet. So that now is 4. Now let's do another one for 5. Wrap that around and through and close. So that is 5. And if you have trouble, all you have to do is count 1, 2, 3, 4, and there is 5. Okay. If you lose count, I should say. Okay, and now I'm just, again, every couple stitches, right, I am trying that pathway again. There we go. And I want to make sure, don't pull too far this way because you don't want to lose your tail end, okay? All right, so there we go. That is nice and smooth. And now we've got another one, another stitch to do. We've got, what, 6, 7, 8, 3 left. So we'll wrap our working yarn through the center ring, the magic ring, draw up our loop, and then close our single crochet. So there's 6, and we'll do it again. We're going to push our working yarn and make sure you really managing that slack back here too. You don't want a lot of slack, okay? So you really do have to wrap it, but not, again, not too tight because it needs to, we need the tail end to slide through. So that's why this takes practice, okay? If it is a little frustrating, okay? I remember when I was learning the magic circle, and it took me a bit, and this was years and years ago. But even doing it with the chunky stuff, it took me a hot minute, you know, just to kind of figure out, okay, what's the best way to get this magic ring done? And this is how I found makes it easiest. All right, so now I don't know where I'm at. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, I need one more. So I'm going to bring my working yarn from the back nice and tightly, but not too tight, right? And then we're going to draw it up and we're going to close our last stitch. Now, I just want to make sure that I have a little bit of wiggle room back here, and I don't. So let's try it from this side and see if we can get a nice pull. Okay, and you can see you don't want to go fast with this, okay? You just want to pull firmly. And you can kind of see it moving. There we go. So now we've got some movement. And we want this to close around all of our stitches. And so what I like to do is I like to put my fingers around the back there like that, and then just kind of continue to pull. Again, don't pull too hard, and you can feel when it's done. So when you feel that there's no more movement, which now there's no more movement on mine, but you will be able to feel when there's no more movement, okay? Let it be. Otherwise, you're going to break this, and you don't want to break this off. You want a tail coming out from here to make sure that it doesn't, unravel itself in there. It won't if you leave it like this, especially with the chunky stuff. Okay, so now we have our magic circle. We have not connected our last stitch to our first stitch, and we're not going to, because this is amigurumi style. Okay, so I know the yarn is super big, but I just really love the look of the amigurumi, so that's why I went with designing it this way. So just to make sure, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 stitches. Sorry, I have dogs, and they're super sweet. I just love them to bits, but they do like to bark out the window. So hopefully we don't have too much interruption with the puppies. Okay, now we have just finished our magic circle, which is round 1 of our pattern for the head and the neck. Okay, so round 1 consists of single crocheting 8 stitches into the magic circle. Now we are going to continuously, and shoot, I forgot one thing. I need a stitch marker, and you will too. You'll need a stitch marker. So I think I'm just going to use my tape measure over here, because that's what I have closest to me. So we want to mark the first stitch once we close the circle, okay, and start our second round. And in our second round, we're going to work an increase in every single stitch. So we're doubling the number of stitches that we have in round 2 from 8 to 16, okay? So I'm going to single crochet into my first stitch there, and now I'm going to place my little stitch marker here. So that'll tell me that that is the first row, or the first stitch for round 2. Now I want to work an increase, so I'm going to work one more single crochet into that first stitch, and I'm going to just continue to do that around. So 2 stitches in each stitch around, and we do want to make these very tight because it's amigurumi, and we want the stitches to be nice and defined, but we also want this to stand up, okay, because it's going to be hollow, right? And when the babies aren't in it, the mama still needs to kind of stand up, and she does, as long as you work your stitches nice and tight. Okay, so I'm just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I got to work another one in here. 6. So we got another one here. 7, 8, 9. Oops. See, that's another thing I have a problem with, is I always just like to move on to that next stitch before I've done my increase. So I can't do that. We don't want to do that, okay? There's 2 more. And got 2 more in this next stitch. And here we are at the last stitch of the round. and we're going to increase in that stitch as well. Okay, and nice and tight. So I know it doesn't seem like my stitches are tight, but they are because I have a hard time getting my fingers in there. Anyway, so again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16. Okay, sometimes it's hard to see the stitches with this variegated yarn. Okay, so now we finished row 2, and we can take our stitch marker out, and for round 3 we're going to single crochet 2 times, so in the next 2 stitches, and then we're going to increase in the 3rd stitch. Okay, and we're going to do that, we're just going to repeat that all the way around, and we're going to have 20 stitches once we do that. Okay, so here we go. We're going to single crochet 1, then we're going to place our stitch marker here to mark that first stitch in round 3. Oh, here we go. I gotta whip it. See, and here's what I'm talking about. Those fibers kind of get caught, and you can hear that a little bit. There we go. See, I don't like that, and then it leaves it kind of like all funky and funny looking. So I'm probably really gonna just go over this a few times because I don't like when that happens. And oh, this works like a charm. Thank you so much, Stephanie, for sharing this with our group because I did not know how fantastic this works. Okay. Sorry. Anyway. See, it's sticking again. Oh, I don't like that. There we go. I have found this with a lot of different yarns. Not always as much as the ones that I got from this high bay, whatever, HBTC, whatever company that I order from. It really is an issue with their yarn, but it doesn't. It actually doesn't negatively impact the quality. So I'm like, okay, well, no biggie, because we always have to deal with some sort of issue with yarn, right? Color spots, like discoloration, or maybe it just didn't dye quite right in all the places. I actually do like that though, because it gives it a vintage look. But did I say dealing with knots? Yeah, dealing with knots in the skeins or the hanks or whatever you want to call them. So let's see. Yeah, all better. Okay. I'm gonna stop now. I think I've got enough yarn for now. We'll do it again later. So we've done our first of our 2 single crochet. Okay, so 1 single crochet in the first stitch, then we go to the second stitch and we do 1 more single crochet, and now we're going to increase in that 3rd stitch. So we'll do 1 single crochet and 2 single crochet. Now we're going to repeat that all the way around. So single crochet, single crochet, and we're going to increase here. Okay. Now again, tight stitches means really managing that slack coming around the stitch. Okay, what did I just do? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Now I have to do another one in this stitch. 4. Okay. Single crochet, single crochet, and now increase. So increase. A lot of times, okay, single crochet twice in the next 2 stitches, and then 2 single crochet in the next stitch. So I'm just continuing that all the way around, all right? When I do an increase, because I do so many, like, okay, I messed something up. Oh, for crying out loud. See, I told you I'd have to rip this out. I'm not a good multitasker, guys. I can't help myself. Once I get talking, I can't concentrate anymore. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, right? 1, 2, 3. So I have to increase in this 3rd stitch. That's what I'm going to do. And single crochet, and then I always like to say increase. That helps me. I don't know why, but it does, because I'm always, like watching TV or listening to music when I'm knitting, working on my projects. And like I said, I'm not a very good multitasker, so I have to keep track somehow, because my mind tends to wander. So hopefully I am. So here's an increase for my increase. I know I have to do 2 stitches in there in that 1 stitch. Okay, so here we go again. Single crochet. What is happening? Oh. Oh. Well, no wonder. Okay, I was looking at the pattern wrong. So, I apologize, but I'm actually increasing. I am doing that single crochet twice, increase, but then I need to do a single crochet in the 4th stitch, okay? I'm so sorry, guys. All right, 1, 2, 3, increase, and single crochet. So we're working 2 single crochet. There's 1, 2. Then we have our increase and our single crochet. Now we start that stitch pattern over. Single crochet, single crochet, increase, single crochet, and we start over again. It's the little silly things that get me. That's so frustrating. I mean, come on. How hard is it to get the pattern read right? Oh, Lord. Anyway, for me, it's difficult, apparently. What can I say? All right, there we go. Finally, we finally have, it's actually working so that the pattern repeats and goes all the way to the last stitch. All right, so now we've just completed round 3. And so I'm going to remove my stitch marker here. And for round 4, and I'm going to read this correctly now, it is increase, single crochet, 4 in the next 4 stitches. Okay, and we're going to repeat that around. So we're going to increase and single crochet in the next 4 stitches. So here is our in, but let's place our stitch marker here. All right, so we have our increase, 2 stitches in that first stitch, and now we just single crochet in the next 4 stitches. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now we'll do it again. Increase, single crochet in the next 4 stitches. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Again, increase, single crochet in the next 4 stitches. There's 1, 2, 3, and 4. And one last time, we're going to increase and then knit in the last 4 stitches on the round. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now we will remove our stitch marker and we're going to do round 5. We should have 24 stitches now, and we can see it's kind of starting to cup a little bit, okay, which is what we want. So I'm going to count my stitches and make sure, which it should be 24. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay. So typically if you end up on the last stitch with your repeat, your stitch repeat, you have the right number of stitches. Okay. So I typically will just go by that. It's when I know, or when it doesn't work out, got like an extra stitch or 2 here at the end, then I know I did something wrong. All right, so now we're going to go to round 5, and this round's going to be quite a bit different. So we're going to single crochet in the first 11 stitches, and then we're going to increase, and we're going to do that twice, okay? So that will give us 2 increases, so we'll have 26 stitches in this round. So I'm going to remove my stitch marker, and I'm going to knit my first stitch and replace that stitch marker, and I need to knit the first 11 stitches. So there's the first, then we've got 2, 3, 4, 5, it's getting in the way. 6. Oh, and here I am at my whisk. Okay, so I need to whisk a little more here. And I'm almost to the end of my first hank of yarn. All right, there we go. Okay, I think that was 6, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep, 6. Now there's 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. So now that we've stitched our first 11 stitches, we're going to increase. So increase 2 stitches in that next stitch, in that 12th stitch. All right, and we're gonna do it all over again. So 11 single crochet, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and we're coming to the last stitch on the round, and we're going to increase. So we're working 2 stitches in that last stitch of the round. We'll remove our stitch marker, and for round 6, our stitch pattern that we're going to be repeating is going to be single crochet in the first 6 stitches, then we're going to increase, and then we're going to single crochet 12, then we're going to increase, and then single crochet in the last 6, okay? So here we go. There is 1, and we're going to replace our stitch marker here. I have really nice stitch markers too. I'm so mad I'm not using them. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Now I'm going to increase. Increase. Now I'm going to single crochet in the next 6, and this is where I'm going to stop. You always want to change color when you've got the second loop drawn up, okay? And then you're going to use the new strand to close that loop, and that's how you change color properly. So now I just need to get my next hank, and yes, I've got to cut the strands, so, but it just takes a couple minutes here, if even. I'm really wanting to make it through to the entire head and neck, so we are probably going to go a little bit longer. We've got a total of 16 rows to work, and we're on round 6, so we've still got like 10 more rows to go. I don't know, maybe I'll cut it in half. I'll just work on something else later, and then I'll do another live session to tomorrow when I work on it again. How does that sound? Okay, just getting these ties. Here we go. I usually have a really cute little tiny garbage can, like a tabletop garbage. But I broke it because I kept sliding it off the table as I was working. And so it hit the ground one too many times and it broke on me, and I just haven't replaced it yet. But I really need to, because I really like my little trash can. I miss it. I'm using this Rubbermaid, which, I mean, it works, you know, but I like fun tools, I guess. Fun things for my knitting. Okay, let's see, is there one more? I think we're done. Yep, okay, we're done with that. Now I gotta whisk it. All these little things take up time, don't they? Yes, they do. That's why we say when we make things by hand, we do it with lots of love, right? Sounding like a cliche, but it's very true, I think. Very, very true. I haven't had any sticky fibers on this one. Yay. Sometimes I get lucky. Once I finish the octopus, I was thinking that I would show you guys how to do the shapes and the clouds. Maybe the little, with the little rainbow, you know, and for the baby play mat, I guess, too. The baby play mat. Maybe I'll do that one next. I don't know. You guys let me know. If you're part of my Facebook group, you see all my stuff that I post in there. So just let me know in the group what you'd like to see next. But this came at high request, the Octomom. So I thought I would do this first. Alrighty. Oh gosh, now I buried the tail. Oh boy. Oh, come on. There it is. Yay. Okay. That wasn't so bad. Alright, so now I'm adding my second ball of yarn, and I'm just going to make sure that the tail's in the back, and I'm going to drop my loop to close this, and I'm just going to take care of this right now, okay? And get it over with. So what I like to do with my finishing work is sew. I do burn sometimes, just really depends on the project. So I'm gonna do 3 long threads of yarn. I'm gonna cut 3 long threads of yarn here. I don't know if you can see what I'm doing. There we go. All right, so I have my 3 threads and have my fray block ready. Now I am going to I just gave this one little twist here, and I'm gonna put my crochet hook under the twist and then draw the thread under the twist as well. And then I'm just gonna come up and do like a button knot. So I twist it 3 times around and then make sure it's tight. And then I'm going to do it twice around and then once around. This is pretty quick once you get used to weaving stuff in. So what I'm going to do is weave these in opposite directions, not very far away. So here is a back hump that I can go through, and I'm just going to keep it right there. And then here is another back hump that I can go through. And so I'm going to just leave it right there, okay? Now what I do is I come at it at an angle to make sure that I'm under both the tail end and the existing stitch. And I'm just going to bring the thread under, and I'm going to do this kind of the same thing, but not exactly. So I'm going to twist it around 3 times and then secure that with another 2 twists. But now I'm going to bring this back over here, and what I like to do is just wrap the yarn around the leg coming back, and then I just feed it back under like it was under both the tail end and the existing stitch. And I bring that thread back under, and that's all I do, okay? Then I'm just going to do another 3 twists and secure that, then 2, and then just 1 twist, and that one's done. And so what that does is it just brings this close, and it keeps it from popping out and like to the front. All right. Now we're going to do the same thing to this tail. So I'm going to come at it at an angle. Here's my existing stitch. This is my tail, and I want to make sure that I come at an angle so that I'm getting both the tail and the existing stitch when I thread my yarn, or I feed my thread underneath those 2 strands. And again, 3 twists, tie, 2 twists, secure. Then I'm going to bring this back this way, and I'm going to use this thread. I'm going to wrap it around this way just to get that thread under there, and then around this tail end to make sure it comes back. And then I'm just going to come back at this again from my angle, and I'm going to bring it back, and that's it. And now I'm going to do my 3 twists, and when you see, when I tighten this up, you'll see it just snug right in. See, it just snugs right in. Okay, so now 2 twists to secure, and 1. There we go. Now I'm going to just snip all of these. I just let my scissors do the work. I just get it down there and pull it into the blades of the scissors so that I'm not cutting any fibers. And then I'm going to just I don't want to cut this by brushing the fibers forward to expose the center thread, because when I do that, it just stays out, it stays popped out, and I don't like that. So when I'm finishing, I like to just cut the thread, or cut the strand like normal without doing any kind of preparation to get that center cord exposed. Because, where is it? You can see here, there we go. You can definitely feel, it's hard to see, but you can definitely feel where that cord is. So now I'm just going to do just a tiny little drop. That's it. And then close it up around there. Take away any excess fibers. And that seals it up very nicely so we don't have any unraveling. And now I'm going to do the same with this one here. So I'm just going to kind of hold it from the tip of the end and come in close, but not too close, and snip. And then I'm going to find that center thread. Sometimes it's hard to find because I'm not exposing it, right? So I got to feel around, and there I found it. So now again, I'm going to put another little tiny drop on that center thread. Squish it in around, remove any excess fiber, and it's done. Okay, so now we have just added our second ball of yarn, and I have no idea where I'm at, so let me count. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then we increased. So now we have to single crochet 12. So I've got 1, so I've got 11 more to do. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Now I'm going to increase again. So increase, 2 stitches in 1, and now to finish up the round, we're going to single crochet in our last 6 stitches. 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. It is actually the last stitch, so we did it right. All right, so now we are on round 7. So I'm going to remove my stitch marker, and on round 7 we're going to single crochet twice, then we're going to work our increase, then single crochet 13, then work another increase and single crochet in the last 11. Just a little bit different, okay? So let's do it. You can see we've got some rounding going on. We've got the top of Mama's head, and it's so pretty, nice and round, just cups, like a little cup or a little bowl. All right, anyway, Sorry. I'm just being silly. Okay, so single crochet 2. We're gonna work our first one and replace our stitch marker. There we go. So there's 1 and 2. Now I'm gonna work an increase. So increase, 2 stitches in 1. Now we're going to work 13 single crochet. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13. Now we're going to work another increase. So 2 stitches in this next stitch. Sorry, it's getting a little awkward because it's getting big. And so I think what I'm gonna do is put it in half, okay? Just gonna, there we go, put it in half. Yes, I sure can. So Dakota Ray, she's asking if I can post a link. I sure can, Dakota. The only thing is you got to buy a lot of yarn, and the shipping is going to be probably the same amount as what you're paying for the yarn, but you're still going to get it so much cheaper than if you buy it from the stores in the US or Canada or anywhere else. Okay, so, but yes, I can definitely do that. Now, where the heck am I at? What did I do? Did I do an increase? I think I did, right? I worked my increase. 1, yep, 2. Okay, so then I've got 11. But yes, I will definitely post that in the comments once I, oh gosh, how am I going to do that? I'll do it here before I finish up, okay? I'll do it at the end so that you can at least get it before the live streaming ends. So we're just now crocheting the last 11 stitches. So there's 3 and 4, 5, 'I will actually send you a couple different links of reputable China suppliers. Oh, now I've got a mess here. Of course I do. Usually it just unwinds so nicely for me, but of course, you know, I'm doing a live feed, so I've got to spend time untangling the yarn. Ugh, that's okay. We'll just untangle together. Yeah, I like to do the octopus in the variegated colors. I just think they, I don't know. I just like the variegated better than the solid color on the Octopus. The Octomom and the babies. But that's just my personal preference, of course. You know, everybody has their preferences. Okay, here we go. I think I finally got it untangled, and now I don't know which direction I'm going, so I better just start crocheting. Okay, I think that was 6, if I remember correctly, and 7, 8, 9, no, okay. Okay, now see, now I'm gonna have to count because I don't. Did I mess up? I'm sure I did. Okay, let's see. You know, I've been doing this a really long time, but I tell ya, I still make a lot of mistakes that I have to redo, spend a lot of time redoing things. It's just that's just what happens to me. You know, some people, I'm sure, just whip through this stuff. They don't have any issues, but I can't say the same for myself. All right, so 1, 2, right? And then we increased. Then we did 13. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. And then we increased. So that's 1, 2. And then we need to single crochet 11. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, I am 10, 11. I just didn't remember where I left off, apparently. Counting, very important, right? Super important. All right, now, you're very welcome, Dakota Ray. Happy to see you here. All right, that was round 7. Now, rounds 8 through 10, we are just gonna single crochet all the way around, okay? So we don't need to count, we just need to stitch. So here we go. Here's 8, and we're going to replace our stitch marker. There we go. Now, we're just going to single crochet all the way around. And so I'm probably just gonna talk. So I'm on round 8. I gotta keep that. I gotta keep that in my head because I'll forget. That's another problem I have. I forget which round I'm on. This is why I am using my notes in here. I use Excel to record my patterns. And so each row, you know, is or each round is a row in Excel. And I just highlight, I select the row so I know where I'm at. It helps me. I gotta do those little things, you know? Little things that help a girl out. Or a guy. Lots of guys crochet too, you know? Oh, which I don't know why it's popped in my head. Well, I do because he's amazing. But this kid, Jonah, I mean, if you guys have been knitting or crocheting, he's a crocheter. Oh God, he's amazing. He's like a speed crocheter. I am not. But he just whips through rows with his hook like nothing I've ever seen. Jonah, gosh, I wish I remembered his last name because he's a pretty special kid. Anyway. Oh, there we go. I've got to... Now, when I add a new thing of yarn, I won't go through threading it again. I'll save it for later. so that I can get through this pattern for the head and the neck. Okay, so we're still on round 8, crocheting around, and by the way, right now we should have 30 stitches in our round. Oh, let's just get in the way. Note to self, make sure I have my stitch marker. Okay. That doesn't get in the way at all. It just stays put, doesn't wrap around my yarn, get tangled, nothing. It's not a menace. It just stays where it's supposed to stay, like a good little stitch marker. Okay. We're nearing the end of round 8. I love to sing, by the way, in case you haven't noticed. I don't have the greatest voice. You know, I could never do American Idol or anything like that, but I can carry a tune well enough. So I'm not hurting anybody's ears. Sometimes I do, and I try to hit notes that I can. I'm no Mariah Carey, trust me. All right, so we've just finished round 8. Now we're going to just keep on crocheting, just like Dory keeps on swimming. And we are going to replace that stitch marker, and now we're on round 9. And we're going to crochet all 30 stitches for round 9. So in the beginning, I think I told you about this podcast knitter that I was introduced to in like an amigurumi Facebook group that I'm in, and I thought, oh, that sounds interesting. So I watched her. I watched her last one, and I had to laugh because I mean, she's super cute, and I love her accent. She's British, and so she's got, you know, that British humor too, which I love. But it was so interesting to me because she had like over 6,000 followers on the YouTube, and so many people watching these podcasts. And she's just it's just very, I mean, she watches The Neighbor, you know, then watches people go to the neighbors that don't live there and talks about that. So she kind of talks about, well, she talks about knitting, you know, of course, and she shows her projects. But she doesn't teach anything. And I thought, well, you know, maybe that'll work out for me. So I'm giving it a try. And I think, I don't know, I think it'll be fun. I'm having fun already. But we'll see. Time will tell. It certainly is a lot easier and less time consuming to do it this way. Just kind of, you know, record as I work, or go live as I work, have conversations, answer questions. I love to answer questions. I just love to help people. But yeah, I just thought that was really interesting. And I'm like, well, why can't I do that? I can do that. Anybody can do that, really, right? We all can do that. All right. We are almost done here with round 9. And last round where we are just crocheting every stitch. So there's one. We're going to replace our stitch marker. I think you see the benefits of the stitch marker here. We always know when we're getting to the end of the round, so to start a new round, okay, and that's the whole point. We don't want it to get lost because we're doing like a continuous round. It's very, very easy to lose where that last stitch is. So don't be afraid to use a stitch marker. It's not a sign of weakness, I promise. It's smart. It's smart. Okay. Oh, well, there we go. Now I need another hank. All right, so we're now on hank number 3. So okay. These ends, I mean, I don't know if you guys buy the hanks or not, but they just slip off the end. You don't have to cut them and worry about cutting the yarn. Let this lead me to the ties. There we go. Oh, there's another end. So you just kind of feel where it's thicker and then pull, and it just comes right off. So that's nice. It took me a while to figure that out. And it's so much nicer that I did, as this goes a lot faster than it used to. All right, so there we go. We've got all the ties. I'm gonna get my little whisk. And I'm gonna whisk it. I really like to do the end because I don't like how the ties kind of get it all kinky, and you can work that out like so, and it's good enough. See? Good enough. All right. I'm gonna make sure I put the tail out so that I can actually find it this time. Okay, so I don't know if you guys ever saw someone use a scissor for this, but I have, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm not gonna do that. I'm sure it worked just fine, but you know me, I'm telling you, if something bad's gonna happen, it's gonna happen, you know? That's why I have to keep a positive attitude, because my days would just be filled with misery with all my little conundrums that I run into. So, you know, I just have to laugh about it. Okay. But yeah, I would end up cutting the yarn. Sorry there, forgot what I was talking about. But yeah, I would end up cutting the yarn. So that just wouldn't work for me. And I never did try it because I was like, no, I don't dare do it. So I didn't. I don't know, have any of you ever used the scissors instead of the whisk for fluffing up your yarn? All right, so there we go. I am still going to connect these two, but I won't do any sewing. Just keep on working. There we go. Gosh, I'm super proud of my puppies. I'm telling you. I'm still trying to teach them not to bark. And I don't want to yell at them. But I have to say, I fail sometimes, especially when I'm cranky. And then I have to remind myself, I mean, really, it's not doing any good. They'll just keep barking. So I even bought this app for training to try to, you know, teach them to not bark. And this app that I was using had me giving them a treat every time they would bark at the window. Needless to say, it didn't work. They didn't catch on to not barking. They just kept on barking just as much as ever. So recently, I've just been like telling them to come. I say their name and then I say come. And guess what? They listen. I can't believe it. All this time, I mean, okay, so Dexter is 2 now, and Dee Dee, she's a little over 1 now. And I've spent, so the last 2 years trying to get the 1 and now the 2 to stop barking. And all I had to do was say their name and tell them to come. And they stop. It's amazing. I love it. I don't know if it'll work for anybody else, but it worked for me, so none of the other stuff worked. I paid for that app too. It was like $40 a month. That's kind of a lot, isn't it? I don't know. Maybe it's not. All right, I'm rounding up on round 10, just about. And then we're going to be working another stitch pattern with increases. Oh no, with decreases this time. Okay, so now we're at the end of round 10, and you can see, I'm sorry, the camera's really close. This is the only way I knew how to do this, so it's kind of hard to see, but this is the, you can see the head is forming, right? You can see that's forming. It's hard to get it all in view. But, you know, it's nice and round and it's forming. So it'll be cute once it gets there. All right, so we have, I'm taking that out. Oh, I really need something else. It's getting to be a pain. Oh, I'm not there yet. So now we are on round 11. Let's get there. We are going to single crochet the next 3 stitches, and then we're going to decrease left, okay? And we're going to repeat that stitch pattern 6 times. So single crochet 3, decrease left. That's what we're doing. Here we go. Here is 1. And I need to do my stitch marker here. There is 2 and 3. Now we're going to decrease, and I'm actually going to do the invisible decrease, so I'm not even doing the decrease left. I'm going to do the invisible decrease with amigurumi. This is a wonderful way to decrease because you can't really see the decrease, okay? So with hand knitting, we have to do it a little bit differently. So we do it through the front loops of our next 2 single crochet, okay? So see here, you've got 2 loops, you've got your V coming up here, just like in knitting, right? Okay, and you have your front loop with the single crochet and the back loop. We're gonna work through the front loops only, and we actually have to draw up our loop through the second stitch first, okay? So we're going to draw this in close because we want our slack to be minimized, and we're going to draw up that second loop for our single crochet through that front loop of the second stitch. Then we're going to take that loop and we're going to draw it through the front loop of that first stitch. And now we have our second loop, and let's just kind of cinch that, tighten that up, okay? And you can see here that it pulls that second leg up. Sometimes it's hard to kind of see or know where the next stitch is when you do this invisible decrease, but you can tell because you've got this front loop crossing over the back, okay, in the back. So now we're going to just close that up, and it lays right across those 2 stitches very nicely, and you can't even tell that it's been decreased. Now we're going to single crochet 3 again. So again, here we can see that this is part of our decrease. These 2 front loops are part of our decrease that we worked, and this is the next stitch here, okay? So this is the decrease. These are the decreased loops here. Can you see that? There we go, better view, sorry. And then this is that next stitch. So we're going to single crochet 1, 2, and 3. And we're going to work our invisible decrease one more time. Well, not really, but we're going to work it again. So again, we want just the front loops of our next 2 stitches, right? Front loops of our next 2 stitches. We're going to come to the second stitch first, draw that in, and we're going to draw up a loop through the front loop only of that, of that second stitch. Now we're going to take the same loop and we're going to feed it through the front loop only of the first stitch. And it just brings those 2 in together, and we're going to tighten that up and close our single crochet. And again, you can see how that just covers both of those stitches very nicely. Okay, so we're going to, here's our next stitch right here. We're going to single crochet 3 times. It's 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to work our invisible decrease. So again, I'm showing you something I've never showed you before, so I'll take some time and do this really slowly for you, okay? We're going to go work our stitch through the front loops only of our next 2 stitches. So here's stitch 1, here's stitch 2, this is the front loop, that's the back loop, front loop, back loop, okay? So we want to work through the front loop, so we're just going to pick that up. And we're going to draw our stitch into that second stitch, okay? And we're going to draw up a loop through the front loop only of that second stitch. Now we're going to take that same loop and we're going to pull that front loop on that first stitch, and we're going to feed that loop that went through the second front loop stitch and put it through the first front loop, bringing those two together. Okay, then we're going to tighten that up, and we're going to close our single crochet. Again, there's the decrease. It decreased this stitch and this stitch, and it goes right over, and you can't even tell. Such a nice little trick. Okay, so now we're going to work 3 more single crochet. 1, 2, oh gosh, 3. And now we're going to decrease through the front loops of our next 2 stitches. We do the second front loop first, draw up a loop, take that same loop and feed it through the front loop of the first single crochet of the 2, tighten and close. Okay, now we're going to bring this in, because again we've decreased, so it leaves a space here, so we want to make sure that slack is minimal and we're not creating any holes here with our decreases. So there's 1, 2, and 3, and then we're going to decrease in the front through the front loops only of our next 2 stitches, beginning with the front loop of our second stitch first, and we want to draw that in, okay, so that the working yarn is right where it exits the previous stitch, coming in through the front loop of that second stitch. Okay, very close, very little slack. Now we want to take the same loop and put it through the front loop only of the first stitch. Now we've got our 2 loops for our single crochet, tighten that up a bit, and we're going to close it. And we're almost done. Going to single crochet 3 times. 1, 2, and 3. And now we're at the last 2 stitches of round 11, and we're going to do work our invisible increase through the front loops only of our next 2 stitches. Okay, so we're going to do the second front loop, or that front loop on the second stitch first. So we're going to draw that in, okay, and take the same loop and feed it through the front loop only of the first of our 2 stitches that we're combining, and close that up. We have just completed round 11, and you can see that we now have 6 less stitches. So we've gone from 30 to 24, and you can see that it's starting to round inwards. I mean, if you're working it, you'll see it. It's really, I'm sorry, it's really hard to show you on here, but I promise you, less stitches equals a smaller circumference, and it will start closing up, okay? Now, we've got, gosh, this thing is gonna be like 2 hours. I'm really sorry. But it will behoove us to just plow through and finish through round 16, okay? So now we're just going to single crochet around for round 12. So we don't have any decreasing or increasing, and I removed the stitch marker, And now I did my first stitch and I need to replace my stitch marker. I thought I had everything, you know, I really did. I was like, okay, do I have everything? Yep, I have everything. And then I don't have everything. What do? You just roll with it. Okay. Hopefully. So basically, we've just got one more round of decreasing, and then rounds 14 through 16 will just be single crocheting around. So I won't have to do that with you. I'll just have to do this row with you, and then the next round with you, okay? So, you know, it won't be a full 2 hours, hopefully. Goodness sakes. Alrighty. Maybe next time I just need to prep the yarn before I do the live and just have it ready. But if I would have done that, I wouldn't have gotten to show you my little fluffing technique. I love this knitting community. It gives so many good ideas. I mean, I've been doing this for over 40 years and I'm still learning new things. And I did a lot of, I challenged myself, you know, any new project I did, I, you know, was trying to learn a new technique or a new stitch or whatever. And through the years, I've just, you know, I've done enough projects to where I really had a good knowledge base. And so when the hand knitting stuff came about, and don't get me wrong, because trust me, there's a learning curve with the hand knitting too. It's more, I mean, for me anyway, the challenge was tension, you know, with hooks and needles, you have your instrument. Here we have our fingers, right? And even though they don't change size, we have to figure out how to change loop sizes. So, you know, that's why I say, okay, I do like you'll hear me in some of my videos where I say, okay, I do a tip of my thumb tight, or the tip of my thumb snug, or the tip of my thumb loose. So, you know, that kind of gives you an idea of what the thumb, you know, what the loop size is. Well, this is kind of a funny story because there was a gal who was watching my beginner video and she just couldn't get the chain big enough. She said that she was using 3 fingers and it just wasn't, her chain just wasn't big enough to cover the width of her stitches. And so I was like, you know, my fingers are a bit sausagey, you know, they just are. And I said, your 3 fingers is probably my 1.5 or 2. So maybe do like a 4, you know, snug or loose. And I bet that'll get you where you need to be. And sure enough, it worked. So I may tell you like snug, tight, or loose, but that's really like my measuring system, right? Because that's how I figured out how to size my loops for the different projects that I work. And you do work different projects with different size loops. I mean, you have to. When you do stuffies, they have to be really tight so that the stuffing doesn't come out through your stitches. Okay, now I'm at the end, and I'm going to do round 13. So this is the last round we'll do together. And we're going to do a single crochet, one single crochet, our invisible decrease, and then a single crochet. So we're surrounding our decrease with a single crochet on each side. And that brings us down to just 18 stitches. And we will work three, because it's 14, 15, and 16 that you will single crochet all the way around with no increasing or decreasing involved, okay? And then you're not going to finish off, okay? So don't finish off, because we will begin to work the tentacles in the next live stream episode. All right, so just make sure that you don't cut your yarn. All right, now we're going to single crochet, move that stitch marker to the first stitch. We're going to invisible decrease. Okay, so I'm going through the front loop of the second one, grabbing that same loop and feeding it through the front loop of the first stitch, tightening it up and closing it up. Now I'm going to single crochet again. So that's my pattern repeat. That's my stitch repeat. Single crochet, decrease, single crochet. So I got to do it again. And this is another thing that I kind of, when I'm not completely focused, I'll just do another decrease, because I forget, oh, wait, I'm supposed to be doing single crochet, decrease, then single crochet. But when I do the single crochet, I think, oh, I just do the decrease next. So that's when I'm like really tired and not paying attention. And that's when I make a lot of my mistakes, when I'm really tired. I don't know about you guys, but that's how it works for me. So just always make sure you're starting over with the stitch repeat. So that's single crochet. Now we're going to do our invisible decrease, feeding that yarn through the front loop only of the second stitch, then through the first stitch, front loop only, tightening that up and closing it up. Okay, now we've got one more single crochet to complete that sequence. Now we're going to single crochet again, work our invisible decrease, feed it through the second front loop only, then the first front loop only, and tighten and close it up. Now we're going to single crochet, finish our stitch sequence with a single crochet, and so we've just completed that. Now we're going to single crochet again, work our decrease through the front loop only of the second stitch first, then front loop only of the first stitch, tighten that up. You do kind of have to hold it this way to get it to tighten up, otherwise it won't slide through both of those front loops. Okay, and then close it up. And now we work our last single crochet of the stitch sequence. Okay, and going to single crochet, work our decrease through the front loop only of the second stitch first, then of the front stitch, and tighten it up and close it up. There we go. All right, so now we're going to finish that up with a single crochet, and we're going to be working the last stitch sequence in the round. So we're going to single crochet, do our invisible decrease through the front loop only of the second stitch first, then front loop only of the first stitch. Then we're going to tighten that up and close it up and single crochet that last stitch. So here is the opening. Your opening for the Mama Octopus is 18 stitches. I'm removing this because I know that this is my last stitch, right, of the round that I was working. And I need to work rounds 14 through 16, so don't forget to do that. Rounds 14 through 16, you're just going to single crochet all the way around. So you've got 3 more rounds to work before you're done with the head and the neck, okay? But 18 stitches will not give us 8 tentacles evenly. So, and there's a reason I did it this way. It helps the head to stand up without anything in it, okay? So the tight stitches and the way I design this and the number of stitches before we start working the tentacles, because we only work 2 stitches. Each tentacle is 2 stitches, and we'll prepare for that for the next podcast, which is actually going to be tomorrow because I just, I can't leave this. I have to keep working on it. So you guys finish that up. I am going to find, if you have any questions, let me know. I'm going to find the links for Miss Dakota Ray and anyone else who is interested. Yeah, why isn't it coming up? Oh, there we go. Okay, let's see. I just have to find it real quick, okay? Give me a second. Okay. Suppliers, China. Okay, so I don't know how this is gonna, oh, oops, shoot. Here, I'm just gonna, here we go. Why didn't that work? Okay, I'm just gonna edit the link and copy it from there. There we go. This is Hai Bei Pengda. This is where I got the yarn that I am using now. Come on. Sorry, now I lost my live stream. I might have to call my husband up here. It's supposed to, I thought it was in my Safari. What's going on here? Oh, wait. Oh, it's Software Pro. Sorry. Oh gosh, I'm so sorry. See, I don't know what I'm doing yet. My husband set this all up for me. He's so sweet. Oh, that's okay, Dakota. No worries. Let's see. There is... Did it go in? Okay, this one is... What did I say it was? Hebei, Hebei Pengda Trading Company. That's where I got the variegated yarn that I'm using today. Just so pretty. Okay, and then this is a very popular supplier. So many people are using. And the reason is because typically her name is Karen. She can do smaller quantities for orders than some of the other ones can. Her prices are a little bit higher, right? Because she will do the smaller quantities. But she has a boatload of colors and variegated colors that are just really beautiful. So her name is Karen with Cynthia Cashmere Company. I don't know what, I'm not even gonna attempt to pronounce that. So, and then there's one other company that I really, really like. I was ordering from Emma with this other company, but I'm really finding the quality is going downhill. So I am not going to be ordering from her anymore. But this is a very good supplier as well. Let's see. There's that. And then the name is so hard to say, but I'll spell it all out here. Boj Trade Company. Boj Trade Company. Is that last one. Okay, so that is a wrap. I don't think I saw any questions, so thanks for showing up, you guys. That's all I've got today. I'll see you again tomorrow. I don't know when, I'm sorry, but probably, maybe later on in the day. People work so many different time zones to deal with, but you know, maybe I can do it around 4 maybe or 5 Central Time if that works. We'll see. I'll try to switch up the times a bit. Well, I guess that's what I did this time, didn't I? Maybe I'll do it earlier in the afternoon. I don't know. Anyway, I'll see you again tomorrow for part 2 of our Octomom. Okay, peace out, all you hand knitting lovies. Until next time.